Namaste, Masters. Good evening, and welcome to our fourth book club session from PMC USA. We've been discussing You're the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's an awesome book. It's almost like a health manual, and it's free insurance for everyone to take care of their health issues or whatever. And it's all with the important resource that everybody has within themselves, that is the mind. So power of mind, using power of mind to heal. Before going into today's topic and chapter discussions, let's do a 5-minute meditation. So all of you just close your eyes, clasp your hands, cross your feet, and we're gonna just meditate for 5 minutes before we start today's session. Sirisha, can you please play the music? Thank you. Focus on your breathing. Just normal, natural breathing. Relax. Just sit down and relax. Let go of your tensions and worries and thoughts. Just focus on your in-breath and out-breath. Okay, gently open your eyes. Okay, so that was a good start for our session today. So I'm gonna share my PowerPoint. So can everyone see?
Yes, Radhika.
Okay. All right. So we've talked about this book for 3 days now, 3 weeks, and we've covered till chapter 5. So today's agenda will be chapter 6. So just to recap a little bit from last week, what we learned about, and so we saw that how our cells are, like biologically, how what every cell is comprised of in our bodies, and how these DNAs are there, genes within those DNAs, and we saw how the DNAs produce the proteins, and when certain genes are awakened or when the certain genes are activated. So based on whether gene expression is activated or suppressed, certain protein is produced, and that protein helps the body function in a certain way. So and also we learned that it's not nothing is hereditary. So we have this pre-notion that, okay, certain diseases like diabetes or breast cancer or sickle cell disease or whatever, Down syndrome, they can all be hereditary, but we learned that it is not necessarily it need not be hereditary, because what happens is you can definitely control your genes and what genes are expressed and what genes are suppressed. So it need not, you need not get more. 95% of the time you're not getting it because of the hereditary reasons, you're getting it because of other reasons. Only 5% chance that gene is expressed, and that is also you can control. So we saw that you can definitely control your genetic engineering by your thoughts, actions, and then emotions, experiences. So how you think and how you determine how you want to feel, what you imagine, what you visualize, based on those things you can express different genes. So that is all what is called as epigenetics, actually study of how these genes can be turned on and for our benefit. We also learned about mental rehearsals, which is rehearsing like some event you're thinking about in your mind, like Michael Jordan practicing some basketball shots in his mind, or golfer Tiger Woods rehearsing the moves on the golf field, how he wants to exactly hit the ball and how he gets a golf ball into the hole. He would have practiced this in his mind 1,000 times, and he goes and executes exactly like that. And we also saw how Jim Carrey, the famous Hollywood actor, how he was always carrying a $1 million check or something, and he had written to himself and Thanksgiving 1995, and it exactly happened like that. He was given a $1 million or $10 million check, and for his success in his movies, and he had like some powerful affirmations he used to do all the time, like he wanted to meet the right kind of people, wanted to get right kind of opportunities, and he does achieve all those things. So mental rehearsals, sometimes, not sometimes, the brain actually cannot distinguish between, is it actually happening, this incident, or it is it is imagination. So brain thinks that it is actually happening. It doesn't know the difference between whether it's happening in real or whether it's imagination. And it changes your physiological body to match that scene. So it is really powerful mechanism. We also learned about stem cells. Stem cells are nothing but they're potential cells which can change or morph into any type of cells, like skin cells or liver cells or brain cells, nerve cells, depending on the need for the body or to heal or whatever, regenerate certain organ. These cells can morph into that type of cell. So the stem cell generation is also through the gene modification and gene expression, and which in turn creates the proteins and also the stem cells production. So that's how the body has this capability of healing or regeneration of certain organs. So let's learn a little bit more about suggestibility today's chapter. And so do you guys have any questions, or do you want to discuss anything else before we go to today's topic? I saw a few new people join today. So if you guys have read the book, or if you have any questions, comments, please raise your hands. Pushpa will help you to discuss. And okay, so let's move on then. So what is suggestibility? Suggestibility is like if someone is telling you something, and how much are you accepting it, listening to it, and how much are you taking that in. So it is basically openness to suggestions. So and then it's like you tend to think and behave as per this other person, their ideas. So you tend to behave based on their ideas or suggestions, you tend to behave. So it's basically you're influenced, you're being influenced by, or you're accepting the statement of others. So that is what is the suggestibility. One way to measure is by the presence of false memories. So somebody can tell you that, oh, this had happened in the past. And even though you don't know about it, but if you trusted that person, it can become a false memory. It can stick in your brain as a memory, even though it was not true. But that's the power of suggestibility. Like it directly goes into your brain. So suggestibility has, so higher the suggestibility, you're more prone to hypnosis, and we will learn how it also helps us with healing and everything. So yeah, this is a very important experiment or like research that they did, which is phenomenal. Actually, you will see what happens. So there were about 185 participants where this research started with, and they had given set of psychological questions, and they wanted to see, like, once this psychological experiment is done, whether they will be able to handle or not, like whether they will go into any permanent psychological problems. So only 16 of them were able to get through that initial test. And then from 16, again, they reduced to 11 by, I forget what exactly was that other test. But for these 11 people, 11 participants, what they did was, the researchers told them, they were all going into a restaurant, and researchers told them that wherever they're sitting, the chairs are extremely hot. So out of these 11, 7 people were like, okay, they sat and they didn't feel anything. But then in that, 4 of them, they really felt it was really hot. The chairs were hot and they stripped off their clothes. So even though it is social norm, right? Like they didn't think, oh, what will other people think, or what will other people say, or even though it's a social norm not to be like, stripping off your clothes, but they would strip off their clothes because they were so much influenced by what researchers had told them that, oh, the chairs were hot. So they would just take off and they would sit. So those were the 4 participants who went to the next level, because they were suggestible to an idea. So they were able to take that idea and believe that. So those were the 4 participants. So they went into the next experiment. So the next experiment was, they all had to get into a metal bath filled with cold water. So it's ice water of 35 degrees. So it's almost like freezing water. And so normally, if a person gets into that tub, you would fringe with cold and your body would shiver, your teeth would chatter, your respiratory system, heart rate, everything would go high. But what happened in this case is, like, 3 of the subjects were 3 of the people in that experiment did feel, and they were not getting into the tub. They said, yeah, it's too cold, and they got out of it. One or 2 person, maybe they went in just for a few seconds and they were out of it. But there was one guy who was able to sit in that cold water for 2 minutes, because how researchers put was, it was like, oh, it's a warm hot tub. So this person really believed that it is warm, and he was like enjoying, like as though it was a warm jacuzzi tub. So his mind was thinking that the water was really warm and nice and comfortable, and even everything, like his autonomic nervous system, whatever, it did not go into like extreme, like, so why the respiratory rate increases, everything is like the body is trying to protect against that emergency, like because it's being attacked by the cold water. But here what happened was, this person, he's called as Ivan Santiago, he was not able to feel anything. And so his mind didn't do anything, he did not send any signal to his body, or so nothing happened. He was sitting there for a whole of 2 minutes. So he was the only guy who actually was able to come out of this experiment also. And then there was another experiment that researchers wanted to see. So this was the only person who was highly suggestible, because he was just listening to whatever the researchers were telling him, and he was believing it so much that his mind and body, everything was like just aligned to what the suggestion, what he was getting. So they had this one final experiment where they were, so he's actually a corrections officer. So he's like in New York City, and he's a normal guy. He has never handled any weapons, and he's like a good employee and a good son, devoted son, uncle, and all that. So he's never done any bad things in his life. But so what these people do is researchers tell him that there is a foreign dignitary that is coming. They actually tell him that he is done with the experiments and they were calling him just for exit interview. So he comes in and he meets with these producers who were like basically researchers. They tell him that, oh, his film was done and he can go. But then one of the researchers sends him in trance. And when he was in hypnotic state, researcher will tell him that, oh, there is a red backpack outside near the motorcycle. Take out a pistol from the backpack, a gun, and there will be like 2 SUVs, and there would be a dignitary wearing dress shirt and everything. He would come out of the SUV and you have to shoot that person. And just shoot the person, bang, 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 and then you will not remember after that what happened. So he exactly does whatever the researcher told him. So he takes out the gun, he shoots that dignitary, and then he puts it back. And then the researcher again comes and he wakes him up. And that even the dignitary was all pretend anyway, because they had the blood bags, artificial blood bags, everything. After all the incident, the researchers told him what happened, and he shot a person, but he was surprised. Santiago was really surprised. He could not believe that he did that. So he was like, and then, so he had forgotten also the whole incident. He had forgotten also, like once he came out into conscious state. So it was just miraculous where this one person could go beyond social environment, physical environment, even the moral environment, because he has been a good person all through his life. And even though he was asked to shoot, he shot a person. So how capable is a human mind that it can go beyond all these environments and bodily conditions, everything, and it can accomplish whatever it thinks. So this is what it's like a huge experiment that they did, and it was just phenomenal for me I was stunned to think about such possibility with our thinking and mind. Any questions? Pushpa, anybody?
Yeah, no questions.
No, Radhika ji, we're all good.
Okay. I'm just wondering whether I'm there or not.
Those experiments are really, really, hard to digest for sure. So
yeah.
I think everybody is in a digestive mode. Yeah, when I read first time these experiments, even I felt like, wow, how can a person be hypnotized in such a level that he can go and kill a person, right? But yeah, please continue.
Yeah. All right. So it also is not just conscious mind. It is actually like the subconscious mind that controls the autonomic system. So let's learn about. So what is this subconscious? Programming the subconscious. So whatever we plant in our, this is a quote by Earl Nightingale. I liked it, so I just brought it. So whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. So this is the whole idea of even placebo. That's what Dr. Joe Dispenza is trying to tell us through this book. So the placebo effect is created by person's consciousness. So wherein the conscious mind merges with the subconscious mind. We'll learn a little bit more about all these things, but just to understand that subconscious mind is what is. So one would have to activate the autonomic nervous system, the subconscious mind, and then assign it the task of making new cells and healthy new proteins. So that is the way we are actually healing our body or mind. And that's where all the magic happens. So just wanted to see if I wanted to say anything else in these. Yeah. All right, so let's go to the next slide. So how we can achieve these things? What is, how will we be able to influence our subconscious mind? So one thing is being open to acceptance, belief, and surrender. So the more we accept, the more we believe, and the more we surrender to whatever we are doing to change our internal state, the better results we can create. So if you wanted to, wanted your like arm pain to go away, or so you have to believe in that idea. First of all, accept that you have the pain, and then you have to believe that, oh yeah, it's going to be fine. And then you believe to the process of, you surrender to that process. Yes, my body is healing it, and you will be able to heal. I mean, the arm pain does disappear, but the body will make sure that the proteins that it needs are generated, and it heals your arm pain. So acceptance. So Santiago was actually accepting all the suggestions, and he was believing in it, and he surrendered basically to the hypnotic state. Like he surrendered, and that's why he was able to do all these things. His mind was able to accomplish such feats. So yeah, this is these are the basic like necessities for us to go to the next level. So if those same people who can't accept that a drug or procedure could make them well could reach a new level of acceptance, belief, then surrender to that end without constantly fretting or worrying or analyzing, then they would be able to reap greater rewards from the process. So yeah, the moment you're analyzing and thinking and worrying about it, that future state that you want to create will not happen. So that's what suggestibility is, making a thought into a virtual experience and having our bodies consequentially respond in a new manner. So you have to take in that whatever that intention is, whatever your the new state of being that you want to achieve, that is when the magic happens. So suggestibility combines these three elements: acceptance, belief, and surrender. So next is adding in the emotion. So it's not just the intention, you also need to have that emotion. So on the right, we're seeing the picture of the brain where, so neocortex is where all the, like, all the activities of brain are taking place, like all the conscious things, like the waking state, but the limbic brain is subconscious brain. So that is where the autonomic system, it's also called as chemical brain. This is what is responsible for maintaining the body's natural physiological balance. It's also your emotional center. So as you experience different emotions, you activate this part of the brain and it creates the corresponding chemical molecules of the emotion. So when you feel an emotion, you actually bypass your neocortex and you get into the activating the limbic brain, which is also autonomic nervous system. So you have to go beyond your thinking brain. Neocortex is all thinking brain, and then you go to you have to get inside. The consciousness has to go inside. That's where the everything, the health can be regulated, maintained, and executed. So your conscious needs to flow beyond that first level of thinking, and it has to go to the subconscious. So this is the picture. So you can intellectualize being better, but if they can't emotionally embrace the result, then they cannot enter that autonomic nervous system. So you have to emotionally feel it also. That is when you can make that happen. All right. So next. So like how we have this Nike ad, right? You say that, oh, just do it. So there is, even in this Empire Strikes Back, Yoda says to Luke Skywalker that there is no try, only do, or not, do not. So same way, the placebo response is there is no try, there is only allow. So there's no in between. There is no trying. You just have to allow it to happen, and it will happen. So in this picture, the author is showing different emotions and how these emotions are having effect on your health of the body. So all the creative emotions like gratitude, love, joy, inspiration, peace, wholeness, trust, knowingness, presence, empowerment, they all open your heart, and so they are at a higher level. So they are causing their selfless emotions, and they elevate. Basically, they elevate the they elevate your consciousness, whereas the survival emotions like all these fear, anxiety, judgment, and sad, guilt, shame, whatever, depression, all these things are bringing your body functions to a lower level, selfish. So we learned, I think in the previous chapters also, like how these stress hormones, when there's a lot of these stress things happening, the body is in that phase where it has to take care of these things, like it has to work on maintenance of these things. So there is no time for creativity, right? We saw like an example of, for example, a city or a country having 98% budget allocated to defense, then there's only 2% left. Like, so they cannot build schools or, repair potholes or whatever necessary things, that creation cannot happen. Improvement for that city cannot happen because majority of the budget is allocated to defending. So similarly in the body, like if everything, like you have all these survival emotions, then most of your body is fighting those things and trying to overcome those emotions. So there is less time for you to be like creative or receiving something new that you wanted to receive. Those things will not happen. So, and also gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions for increasing your level of suggestibility also. So it teaches your body emotionally that the event you're grateful for has already happened. By giving thanks, you're saying, usually we give thanks after the event has happened, but now because you're being grateful even before the actual event happened. Like I said, the brain does not know whether it is actual event or you're thinking about it. So it will begin to believe in it, and the future event has indeed already happened or is happening to you in the present moment. That's why we say gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. So it's better to be in all these creative emotions rather than in survival emotions if you want to be in the new state of being. So if you can bring up the emotion of appreciation or thankfulness and combine it with a clear intention, you're now beginning to embody the event emotionally. That's what we say as having the emotion. So you want to feel that emotion actually. So you're no longer using familiar primitive emotions to keep you anchored to the past, but now you're giving these elevated emotions to drive you into a new future. You wanted to create something new, then you have to have these elevated emotions. So that was that. Any questions? Okay.
Just wanted to add few points on gratitude. Yeah, if we look at the list also, the gratitude is on top of the list. Yeah. So it is being said that, as you Radhika ji mentioned, giving gratitude before the event has also happened. Whatever we give, that's what we receive. So any small thing that, okay, if I for a small example, if I receive my salary, I said thank you, so certainly it will uh, get more. So this is applicable for uh, anything and everything in this universe. So gratitude for love, gratitude for your everything. So I just wanted to just add this point. That's a great wisdom that I got from this book and from PSSM too. Thanks, Rajika. Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Pushpa. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, sorry. Okay. So there is two phases of the analytical mind. There is suggestibility. So the higher the analytical, the mind is more analytical, you're less suggestible for ideas. Same way, if the mind is less analytical, you're more suggestible to a suggestion. So if you're constantly analyzing, comparing, judging, rethinking, examining, or questioning, polarizing, scrutinizing, reasoning, rationalizing, reflecting on every situation and every new thing, then what happens is you're less suggestible. Your mind will not take, because it doesn't come easy to you, any situation or any suggestion. You have that analytical mind, analytical brain. Similarly, like, because if you saw in those experiments also, all the subjects, they were like the restaurant situation, for example, they didn't think that, they did not analyze, oh, is it right? Should I do this? What will I look like? Who's watching? What will they think? So if they were thinking those things, so the 7 subjects were thinking so many things, that's why they were not able to do it. So they were not open to the suggestion that, oh yeah, it is warm, it is hot, and because they were analyzing basically. So the folks who immediately stripped their underwear, on the other hand, did it without questioning what they were doing, because they were less analytical and so more suggestible than their counterparts. So we will see that there's nothing wrong with analytical mind, of course, because it has served us well for our entire waking conscious lives, because that's what makes us human. We also create meaning and coherence between our outer world and, like experiences of people and things at different times and places, and our inner worlds, our thoughts and feelings. So being analytical is not, so there has to be like a balance, I would say, between being too analytical and being too suggestible also. So even the analytical mind will work best when we are calm and relaxed. So, and you're focused. So otherwise there is too much of analysis will lead to egoism. Ego is like protecting, it acts as a protection. So it goes in a different direction. So you will not be open. So the ego basically makes it to be cunning, manipulative, and competitive, deceptive, because it's trying to protect. So ego will do anything to empower itself in the rush of addictive emotions. So because, and also like when you have some emergency, you want your mind to react like that, right? That is not the time to be like open-minded or entertaining new possibilities when there is emergency. So you have to have both, but just the balance. You have to have the right amount of, if you're too suggestible also, you're more like gullible so I saw one statement somewhere, I thought I'll say that, but yeah, balance is what I would say. You should have balance between the two, not being too analytical, not being too suggestible, to get that right amount of analytical mind. We'll learn a little bit more in the following slides. So the inner workings of the mind. So, so in the left side of the picture, we see that conscious mind is only 5%. That is where is this creativity, logic, and reasoning. That's what happens in the conscious mind. And then there is analytical mind, and then there is subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is 95%, where it has all the skills and habits and everything hardwired, what we do every day, like picking up something, cooking, or working, whatever, everything, like you getting to a place, the directions, you're just driving. So everything, all these things are like autonomous because they're already rooted, because you've repeated them so many times. And also like attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions, they're all deep rooted. Some things are all deep rooted. So they're all subconscious mind. Everything is 95% of our mind is subconscious. So on the right, you will see that how the memory system is. So we have declarative memories, and then we have non-declarative memories. So declarative memories is like, okay, I'm living in North Carolina, I'm working in some company, my daughter is in Rhode Island studying there. So these are all like declarative memories because they're facts. Basically, they're facts, and they're declarative. They're called as declarative memories. So they're almost like autobiographical self about you have them based on who you are, where you are, what you are. They're all like facts. These are all declarative memories. And non-declarative is similar to what we talked about in subconscious. Those are all non-declarative memories. So some habits, some things are all like we are conditioned in our mind. 10 o'clock, you want to eat breakfast or whatever, those kind of things. Everything is like riding a bike, operating a clutch, tying your shoes, tapping a phone number, pin on a keypad, reading, speaking. All these things are called as implicit because they're innate, they're natural for us. So, and there you have mastered certain these habits and things like that. So they're automatic for you, automatic programs. So those are all non-declarative memories. So how you can get an implicit memory is also like you can trigger them in two ways. One is repeated. So repeatedly, if you've been doing something, it will go into your implicit memory. Redundancy of emotions derived from consistent experience will also be repeatedly logged there. Other instance where you can store a memory is it's a highly charged one-time emotional event that can be immediately branded and stored in the subconscious. For example, in a childhood memory of being in a big department store and getting separated from your mother. So it has like a high impact on you. So something like terrible happened. So that is deep rooted in your memories. So you got lost in this huge department store and you don't know where your mom is. So you're kind of lost. So it is like a strong emotion that you went through, and that emotion can get into your implicit non-declarative memory or the subconscious. So that is one way of one of the ways to get implicit memory. So let's go to the next. So how we can get into the subconscious mind. So we already talked about if the analytical mind is thin, then you're more suggestible. And if it is too thick, you're less suggestible because you cannot get across the information through your analytical mind. So, so someone overly suggestible might be too gullible and less functional. Whereas if it is over analytical is also less likely to trust and flow in his life. If you're too analytical, you're less likely to trust anybody. So there is a healthy balance is better. So yeah, only when a person accepts, believes, surrenders to a suggestion does the door between the conscious and subconscious minds open. So you have to accept, you have to believe, and you have to surrender to that suggestion. Then only you can communicate to the subconscious mind. So we have in this last picture on the right, the author is showing how the brain waves are. And brain wave is one of the way to get into that deep conscious or the subconscious. So we have different, so we have high, beta, mid, low. So all the beta is basically the conscious thinking. Whatever is conscious thinking brain is all beta, and then analytical mind. Then you get into alpha is little bit relaxed state, and then theta is theta and delta is where actually you can get into the subconscious mind. So I think this is a favorite topic for all our pyramid masters, demystifying meditation. What is meditation? So basically you're transcending from conscious mind to subconscious mind, selfish to selfless, materialist to immaterialist, getting from some place to no place, being in time to no time, and becoming going from survival mode to creation mode. So basically you're from imbalance to imbalance, emergency to growth and repair mode, and you're going from limiting emotions of fear, anger, sadness to expansive emotions of joy, freedom, and love. So basically we are going from clinging to the known to the unknown. So why is this happening? Because we are getting into that subconscious mind, and that is what is the creating all this joy or any physiological body changes, or like, creating that dopamine or healing that knee, or the sham surgery that is being performed. But because you think that it was actually surgery, it actually healed that part. So all these things are basically, you can achieve them using quieting your mind, basically. So it just means that you're declaring a ceasefire. That means you're saying stop on all the other things, ceasefire on all the automatic neural networks in your thinking brain, and that you habitually fire on a regular basis. So usually you're always in that thinking brain, but you just call ceasefire, that is stop all those things. And then you have to stop reminding yourself of who you think you are, repeatedly reproducing the same level of mind. So you don't want to be in that. You want to go to that new state of being, right? So that's by practicing meditation, you'll be able to do all that. So why can meditation be so challenging? Basically, it's because of, again, over analysis or thinking too much about problems, living in survival mode, addicted to stress hormones, too materialistic, or conditioned habit to the chemical rush we're getting from the external environment. So basically, all these real threats, problems, or concerns that exist that need our constant attention, all these things make the meditation more challenging. But I think it's not a problem for us meditators. I think we've crossed that stage. So through the meditation, so author conducts, Dr. Joe Dispenza conducts a lot of workshops where he teaches the patients or whoever, the participants, meditation. And through meditation is what, and also some affirmations we learn in later chapters, is where he's helping the participants recover, or whatever they're there for, attending the workshops. So yeah, is just emphasizing on, so by reinforcing this new information, what we think should be impossible is indeed possible. And it helps us to remind ourselves that there's more reality than what our senses perceive. So whether we want to admit it or not, we are the placebo. We are the ones who can make the changes happen. So that is what it's trying to explain here. So I think we talked a little bit about this, navigating our brainwaves. So meditation is one way where we can get into that autonomic nervous system, where we become more suggestible and we can overcome the challenges. So I think, yeah, alpha is the light state of meditation. So beta is the normal, where you have your brain is thinking and doing everything. And then alpha is little lighter state of meditation. Theta is where you go into this mind awake but body asleep mode. That is the way to our subconscious mind. You want some things, some ideas, some things that you want to think about. That's when theta is the state where you would do that. So yeah, we'll learn a little bit more in future chapters about how to program your subconscious mind, not to shoot a stuntman or whatever with the prop gun, but to actually overcome any health issues or emotional trauma or other personal matters that you may be dealing with. So that the next chapter will be attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions. That's 7. I might be doing 7 and 8 in the next week's session. The quantum mind, that's the 8, chapter 8. So we're gonna wrap up here today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to discuss. And it's exactly 9:30. I guess I'm on dot. Any questions, any thoughts? I see a lot of participants. Ruchi, I think she was reading the book. Aruna, Divya, Shubha, Radhika. So you guys have any questions? Have you been reading the book, or any thoughts you would like to share? Aruna. Pushpa, did you want to unmute her?
So basically, to summarize, right, what I feel overall looking at or hearing to this chapter and this book. So basically, the analytical mind, the more, that's a very great point actually. The more we analyze, we keep going into the n number of infinite loop, and that builds the ego. Definitely, and the suggestibility goes slow. Radhika ji, you get a right point, a great point, saying how to, I mean, striking a fine balance between both, right? So that's great point. Ideally, and then the gratitude, not in the survival mode of living, going the beyond of it, and adapting to the higher thoughts
Emotions.
and emotions, right? I mean, one great point is, okay, manifestation. The manifestation, like how do we think, how do we feel, and how do we become? So that's also a great point that Joe Dispenza has scientifically given explanations of how our mind will bypass, and that's what we become. So with the heightened emotions, like if you think, oh, I am this, then yes, you are this. Like whenever this we can apply in our day-to-day life also. Like whenever I'm going or speaking, giving a speech, maybe I feel nervous. Yes, we'll become nervous. We feel like, oh, I can do it. Yes, you can do it. So
exactly.
that's a power we have in ourselves. So the techniques, asking, hey, stand in front of mirror and practice all these things. It's a small example I wanted to give, but overall great session with scientific explanations of how our thought can change the beliefs and emotions. I hope everybody has enjoyed too. And any questions? I think no question is not a dumb question, right? So if you we wanted to make this little interactive, if anybody wants to come forward and give an example of like how you see or you have applied to this your life or someone else, it can work in a both either positive way or negative way, right? So
looks like Aruna raised her hand. I'm not sure if she wants to talk.
Definitely, because I was just waiting as a.
Okay,
oh, sorry, Aruna.
No. It's good. You are trying to summarize, and I'm also trying to see very well summarized. And Radhika ji also. This book is like become like a proverb. Like almost, you are the placebo is not a book now anymore in PMC. It is becoming like almost when people are like want to think in a different manner. Like we are almost saying like you are the placebo is kind of like a it has become like a great saying right now.
Right.
So, and I have always been hearing about this book. Hardly I know so many books they suggest. So this is one of the things I always had top of my mind that I should always get some knowledge and try to get some summary out of it. So I just saw the book name and okay, let me just see, log in and then try to see if I can understand something. But as Radhika ji like was saying, in my life also, I am that kind of person where I am the backbench. Like I let people talk first or speak first, and let me just listen or be kind of. I'm not like a go forward leader type person. But at the same time, when I am in the friends and circle and other people, I'm always like leading the talks basically. But when it comes to profession or when it comes to actually the intellectual people, I always stand back and just see, listen, just because I'm not confident enough, right? The only reason why I'm trying to sit in the backbench or listen to people is I always used to feel maybe I don't have enough knowledge to share or talk or that's how my profession used to be. But all of a sudden there was a push where my choice, I want to continue work from home. That was my choice. I thought that will work for me. I want to have that luxury of working from home. So at that point, I just looked at all the options. What are my options to do that? Then I had to push myself, and then it happened. I mean, I then applied all these techniques. You are the placebo, right? Let me think, and then do whatever is right. And then no negative thought, even one single thought, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. And then, but when I actually, then you have to be a little technical and you have to get into that. Finally, I got the job that I can going forward work from home. But all of a sudden, because of the COVID, then they pushed everyone to stay home.
Yeah.
But I was right there at the doorstep. When the COVID came, I was with the system. I was at the right job where I can start working from home.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
If at all I didn't have that job and that opportunity, I would have still had to continue to go to work anyway.
Oh, wow.
But I was at that doorstep. And then the COVID came, and then they said, okay, now you can work from home. So anyway, it came to me that dream come true kind of thing. But I can look back and see, listening to what you have said today and what you all are summarizing, I can see that in real life also, we just don't push hard enough like our kids do. Like my daughter, I see her, this generation, she's a doctor, and she has always pushed so hard in her life and to be what she is today. So I when I look at her, I was never that hard on myself, actually. So I always gave so many options to me that to relax and, but when you have a goal and you believe in it, right, you can get it. But then that belief, you can believe only when you have that strong
intention or goal.
Yeah. Exactly. So that has to be your only goal. And then because that's what I have seen in my life. So thank you for sharing, and very good read. Thanks.
Yeah, there's 3 more sessions. If you want to listen to sometime, you can. This is the 4th session.
Yeah, we have luckily I have evening calls actually, but luckily this was a free time. I thought I can definitely get this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining. I think, we're going over time maybe. So we'll meet next week. Thank you, all of you. Have a good night then.